You wrote two Forbes articles, like about kind of, I don't remember, the coming out party, graduation. My God. And you know what? Sometimes, I razz you a little bit about you being sweet on Forbes and you're very bullish, as I am. But this was absolutely deserved. Wow. What a day for Qualcomm Automotive.
It's kind of funny. I spent so much time working there. I felt it was only 2 days, but it felt like a week. Like I had to sleep the weekend to get over it. I think I caught something in New York. But listen, no, Qualcomm crushed it. And at a corporate level, Qualcomm has been in a multi-year expansion and diversification strategy to get further outside of modems and more into IoT, automotive, and RF. Those businesses are absolutely rocking. And inside of automotive, we have come to appreciate that every major time they get up on stage or they do earnings, they are updating this magical backlog number or order backlog number. And the company went to 30 billion, and that was an increase of 11 billion from 19 billion in 2 months. And by the way, that 11 billion number is interesting because it happens to be the number NVIDIA gave for their entire backlog. So you can compare it. Qualcomm has 30 and NVIDIA has 11.
Yeah, you're talking about design pipeline, right?
Design pipeline. Yeah. And it's funny, I sometimes mix design pipeline and backlog. Backlog is firm orders. Design win pipeline is a little bit softer than that. But that to me was the big announcement there. Mercedes got on and talked about their 2025 models. They won the Dash for that. But it was a time for the company to reinforce its leverage strategy, which is essentially leveraging each piece, every block, and every piece of IP that it does in smartphones and extending this to the automotive market. I got to tell you, I was super skeptical that they would be able to do that. There have been companies who've tried to extend before, but to their credit, Qualcomm made a ton of investments that put over and above. They spent the money on auto-specific types of features like reliability, like heat, like failover, ASIL D, things like this. There was a little hint at the very end where they said, hey, we think the new architecture in the car is going to be centralized compute. And oh, by the way, we have a new line of products called Snapdragon Ride Flex SoC. Some people said, oh, it's paper. And then Qualcomm turns around and said, oh, we already have design wins, are already designed in it OEMs. We'll have more details for you at CES. Now, the interesting number, like it's funny, you have a slide with all this information and my eyes just honed in on this number of tops, which is essentially the amount of AI performance. And they hit that 2,000 tops, which happens to be the same exact number that NVIDIA brought out for Thor, right? Coincidence? I don't know, but the game is on at the high end between Qualcomm and NVIDIA. Can't wait to see details. Qualcomm is not known for the highest performance. They're known for the best performance per watt, but we will see. Oh, I think your mic is muted.
I was muting it because I was sharing the LinkedIn post to everybody out there to join us on the live stream. So thanks all y'all for that are tuning in. But every once in a while I do that, Pat, and it just starts playing out loud. So it's like I got to be careful. So anyway,
definitely.
Thanks for catching that. But Pat, look, the automotive industry is going to be massive for semiconductor companies. We're in a bit of a gully right now for semis. We'll talk about that when we talk about Micron, which is early earnings in this quarter. We're going to see some pullback. That's typical of what we've been through in the cycle. By the way, even without the pandemic, semis always have cycles like this, but automotive is a massive opportunity. And look, I want to reiterate what you said. For like what, a decade plus, NVIDIA has been working on building ADAS and infotainment systems for automotive. Definitely had some early wins with Tesla. That, you know, there was a transition there and that shifted the business. But look, 11 billion is their design pipeline, which, by the way, that's a big number. Like, let's not, you know, mince words here. Qualcomm added $11 billion to its design pipeline in 2 months. 2 months, Pat. I mean, it was, you know, the number had been growing steadily and had been impressive. But talk about a good day for CEO Cristiano Amon and SVP GM Nakul Duggal. And you wrote a good piece on Forbes. Everybody check it out, kind of about the coming out party. Look, it's been a bit of a coming out party for a while, but, you know, really it's the list of companies that are employing some of Qualcomm, if not all of Qualcomm's technology, kind of is unbelievably impressive. I mean, you've got GM and you've got BMW and you've got VW and now Mercedes, which again was something that kind of had looked like it had been sort of spoken for over the years. Now, the digital chassis, I guess I'll just make one other point because we're just taking too darn long on all these topics. But Pat, I love the building block approach because the way I see it, and I asked in our Q&A when we had some FaceTime with the executive team, is it's not just about winning at one point. We've had a lot of companies with good point solutions. It's going to be about winning across the vehicle. To create this really software-defined vehicle of the future, it's going to be about taking all these systems, telematics, infotainment, ADAS, et cetera, and building them to all work very ubiquitously together. And as we all know, just ask Apple, when you do a monolithic approach, it does tend to create the opportunity to develop a better experience. So Qualcomm is kind of having it both ways. They're kind of like, look, if you just want to use us for cockpit, fine, we'll do that.
Bag of chips.
By the way, we're going to build this new SoC, this supercomputing SoC that enables you to sort of just add our capabilities as you go. So you can put it in for one thing, right? The new supercompute SoC, which again, I know you had some points about whether that's an accurate term, supercompute versus supercomputer. But the long game here is put in the core technology and say, okay, now you want to add ADAS. Now you want to add telematics. Now you want to add drive policy. Now you want, right? And they're going to basically set themselves up with this monolithic approach that allows you to build out your entire vehicle and make changes faster, which, by the way, if you understand automotive design pipelines, it takes time. This is going to make it more prudent and effective and efficient for people to add more Qualcomm capabilities. So
that's interesting. It's interesting though. They added the monolithic design, but on the ADAS and FSD, they allow the car maker to add their own value and add software, and not everybody does that. There are solutions out there that are 100% a black box that you don't get to tweak it at all. So somehow they managed to kind of have their cake and eat it too, which is a monolithic design that, like you said, improves the quality of the experience, maybe increases its time to market, but they added the ability for the OEM to pull in their own software.